Good morning, everyone. Hope you had a nice week. Um, so, just an update in case you guys didn't know. So, on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we'll be doing live online classes. Tuesday and Thursday, we are doing in person classes. I sent out a remind text yesterday. So, if you're interested, you can call me or email me. We're kind of limited in space, obviously because of COVID. So if you're interested, just let me know. All right, so we are going to work on converting fractions into decimals today, and we'll look at going the opposite way, also converting a decimal to a fraction. But let's pick up with the fraction to decimal. So if we have 4/20. Okay, how we're going to do this is we would divide the denominator, in this case the 20, into the 4. So it looks something like, okay, so what we know is 20 is bigger than 4. Okay, so we're going to have to add some zeros. And we'll add just 2 to start. Sometimes you might not need that many, sometimes you might need more, but 2 is always a good starting point. And the first thing that we always want to do is once we put the decimal here, is we want to move it up to right here so we don't forget it. And then it's just a straight division problem. How many times does 20 go into 40 now? Well, 20 goes into 40 2 times. So it'd be 0.2. Sometimes you might see, and it's up to you guys, you can put a 0 here because you're going to know 20 doesn't go into 4 at all. So the answer would be it'd be 0.2. Or if you just want to put 0.2, it's the exact same thing. But if you feel a little more comfortable putting that 0 right there, that's fine. Okay. So all it is when you see a fraction and asks you to convert that into a decimal, you're just going to divide the denominator, in this case, the bottom number, into the top number. Okay. Let's do another one here. We'll do 4/10. Okay, so once again, we're going to divide the bottom number, the denominator, into the top number. So in this case, it's going to be 10 into 4. And once again, we know that the 10 is bigger than the 4, so we're going to have to put some zeros here. We'll put 2 to start. If you want to put more, you can. You don't have to. So, and then remember, the first thing we want to do is bring this decimal up. So that decimal is going to go right there. And now, basically, we know 10 doesn't go into 4, so you can put the 0 there. But how many times does 10 go into 40? 4 times. And 4 times 10 is 40, and there's nothing left over. So the answer to this one would be 4/10, or 0.4. Okay. Now let's do one where we have to use a little more zeros. Let's do, if we do 3/8. Okay. Once again, you're going to see that it says convert it to a decimal. We're going to divide the bottom number, the denominator, into the numerator. Okay, so in this case, it's going to be 8 into 3. And we'll just do 1 0 this time, and I'll show you why sometimes we want to add more zeros. Remember, the first thing you want to do is bring that decimal up. Okay, so now how many times does 8 go into 30? Well, 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. So we know it's 3 because 4 would be too big. So it's going to be 3. And then 3 times 8 is 24. We're going to subtract that, 6. So we have to bring another 0 down. So we bring this 0 down. How many times does 8 go into 60? Well, we know that's 7 times because 7 times 8 is 56. 7 times 8 is 56. there's going to be 4 left over, and we're going to have to bring another 0 down. So sometimes it's okay to start with 3 zeros. You might not use them. It's really up to you. There's no harm in putting his extra 0 there. Then we're going to bring this 0 down here. So now it's 8 into 40, and we know that's 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40, and there's nothing left over. So 3/8 written as a decimal would be 0.375. Okay. We'll do one more here. We will do, let's see here. How about we'll do 3/20. Okay, so we're going to do the 20 into the 3. Remember, move the decimal up. We know 20 doesn't go in 3, it's too big. So how many times does 20 go into 30? That's 1 times. 1 times 20. That's going to be 10. So we need to bring another 0 down. How many times does 20 go into 100? Well, we know it's 5 times. 5 times 20 is 100. 0 left over. So 3/20 written as a decimal would be 0.15. Okay. So you guys, it's pretty straightforward. As long as you remember, we're always going to divide the bottom number, the denominator, and the top number, and make sure that you put the decimal right after, in this case, the 3 or the denominator, and move it up to the top so we don't forget it. And then you're going to need to add some zeros sometimes. And that's really, you can start with 1, you can start with 2, you can start with 3. I mean, if you start with 3 and don't use 1, that's fine. It's really up to you. Sometimes when you put the zeros there, then it's easier to bring them down. It's really up to how you want to do it. Okay. So on the opposite side of that, I'm just going to show you the opposite of this. Okay. And that's how we convert a decimal to a fraction. So if we had 0.45 and they say convert that to a fraction, the one thing you have to remember is place value. So to the right of the decimal, the first is the tenths. The next place is hundredths. And the third one is thousandths. And what that means, the tenth, there'd be 1 0 for 10. 100, there'd be 2 zeros. And thousands, there'd be 3 zeros. Okay? That'd be like 1 1,000, 1 100th, 1 10th. So you see here, there are 2 places to the right of the decimal. 1, 2. So what that means is this decimal is 45 hundredths. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it over 100. So what that would be is 0.45, or not even 0.45, but just 45, because we're converting it to a fraction. It'd be 45 over 100. Because you can see there are, the 5 is 2 places to the right of the decimal, so it's in the hundredths place. So this decimal is going to go over 100. And then once we get to there, it's just, you're just going to reduce it. And our common multiple is going to be 5. So 5 goes into 49 9 times, and 5 goes into 100 20 times. So 0.45 converted to a fraction would be 9 over 20th. Okay. And the biggest thing is, you guys, is just to remember is the place value. So if we only have, for example, if we have 0.03, we know this is 3/10 because it's only one place to the right of the decimal. So it would be in the tenth. So we're just going to put 3/10. In this case, it can't be reduced. So that's exactly 3/10. It's 3/10. That's how you would say it too, because we only have one number, the 3, in this case. It's just one place to the right of the decimal, which would be in the tenths place. So when you're seeing these decimals, you have to keep in mind where they fall as far as place value goes. So if we have 3 numbers, like I'll do this one, if we have 0.125, well, that one is going to be 3 places. We have 3 numbers to the right of the decimal. In that case, it's going to be 1, 2, 3. It's going to be in thousands place. So we'd put 125 over 1,000. Okay. And then we would know basically that 25 goes into 125 5 times. And 25 goes into 1,000, is it 20 times? Let me check here. 20, I'm so bad with division, you guys, goes into 1,000. So 40 times, excuse me. And then we know this can be reduced to 5 goes into 5 1 times, 5 goes into 48 times. So it'd be 1/8. Okay. And looking at that again, even you could use 125 instead of 25 because 125 goes into 1,000. It's 8 times. So the biggest key is when we are doing a decimal, you guys. So we'll just use this one for an example. If we have 0.64, you're going to realize that 4 is 2 places to the right of the decimal. So that's going to be in the hundredths place. So the 64, let me erase this so we can get this in context so you guys can really see it. If we have 0.64, we know the second number is 2 places to the right of the decimal. So in this case, that would be the hundredths place. So we'd put the 64 over the 100. And then it's just basically reducing that fraction. And so we'd have 4 goes into 64, or 2 goes into 64, 32. We're going to use 2, 32 over 50. We know that can be reduced a little bit more, 16 over 25. Okay, so the biggest thing, and we'll work on this more next week, but when you ask you to convert a decimal into a fraction, really what you have to look is the first thing is how many numbers are to the right of the decimal. In this case, there's 1, 2. So up here, we know it's going to be over 100. If there's only one number, if it was just 0.6, then it's going to be the tenths. If it's 652, it's 3 places, so it's going to be over 1,000. So it's really dependent on how many numbers are to the right of the decimal. That's how you know what number you're going to put it over to start to reduce. Okay, we will certainly work on this a little bit more next week. So I will post some examples for you guys to work on of converting fractions to decimals and then decimals to fractions. And one thing in this, there's going to be, and don't, if you can't, the ones that have, you're going to see something that says when you see this line that just means that this goes on forever. It'd be 1.88888. Those, oh, excuse me, those when you see something like this, you can skip it and we'll talk a little bit more about repeating fractions. Okay. Don't, if you can't figure it out, that's fine. I will go over what that repeating number means on Monday. So in the meantime, if you can figure it out, go ahead. If not, basically just skip it and we will cover those on Monday. An example would be, and I'll just show you what I mean. So if we have like 3/10, and I want you to convert that to a decimal. So 10 would go into, oh, excuse me. I've got the wrong one here. I want to do 1/3. So 3 into 1.0. We bring that decimal up. So 3 goes into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. We bring the 0 down. You're going to keep getting 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. So it's going to, this 3 is going to go on forever. And you're never going to get 0 for remainder. It's going to be, you're going to continue. You do 3 times 3, it's going to be 9. We keep bringing, it's going to keep being 9. So you keep bringing the 0 down. So when you see something like that, that just means that 3 keeps repeating. It's like if I asked you to divide $1 into 3 equal parts. You really can't do it. It's 33 cents for all intents and purposes, but it's really 33 1/3 cents. But we really can't break a penny into 3 parts. So that's how you'd write it. It'd be 0.333 repeating. Okay, because that 3 is going to go on forever. That's what that line means. That 3 just goes on forever. Okay, so when you get to when you see that number, that just means that number goes on forever. Okay, if you can't figure it out, that's fine. We'll cover that a little bit more on Monday. All right, you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.